I am honored and pleased to welcome you today to celebrate our 100th anniversary birthday party in honor of Congressman Adam Schiff. It was just over about 100 years ago that Glendale Water and Power was formed, believe it or not, with the payment of $23,000 to the fledgling Brand Electric Company, which then became, which is now Glendale Water and Power. Can you imagine $23,000? What would that buy you today? So a little bit more than the cake we have here, but that's about it. So again, I'd like to recognize those officials that have come today and taken the time to celebrate with us. Laura Friedman, Councilwoman from Glendale. Right here. President of the Glendale Community College Board of Trustees, Tony Tartaglia. Superintendent and President of the Glendale Community College, Dr. Dawn Lindsay. Of course, Congressman Adam Schiff, but we'll do a little bit more of an introduction later, Congressman. From the office of California State Senator Carol Liu, Lena Kennedy. And from the California State Assembly 43rd District office, Susie Jacobs. And then some of my partners in crime from other municipal systems. I'd like to thank Marcy Edwards, General Manager of the Anaheim Public Utilities. And also, Marcy is also the President of the Southern California Public Power Authority, one agency that we do one heck of a lot of business with. And if it wasn't for them, we would not be in the position we're in today. So thank you, Marcy. And thank you for coming all the way up from Anaheim. Our neighbor to the west, General Manager of Burbank, Ron Davis. And from the far eastern reaches, from Azusa, George Morrow. From the Department of Water Resources, we have Linda Ng. And then I'd like to recognize our assistant general managers, those of them that are here today. And those that are not here are destined to spend another 100 years at GWP. They'll be notified later. I'd like to introduce Peter Kavonis, Ramona Boeg, and Ned Basson. Keep me honest here. And how could I forget? In the office of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, Michael Antonovich, Rita Hardry-Manukian. And Rita, did I come close? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I tried to just kind of go over it, you know. It didn't work. I'm sorry. The reason we're here today, as I mentioned, is to celebrate 100 years of Glendale Water and Power, and also to thank our Congressman for his help in some of our more crucial projects over the last few years. We'll talk a bit more about them as in the afternoon progresses, but I just wanted to mention the three things that are so important to us that the Congressman has helped us, that are so visible and will have far-reaching impacts on Glendale Water and Power and its customers. First, his involvement, and his very, very critical involvement with the development of the chromium-6 treatment facilities that we are now testing here in Glendale. And I can honestly say, without the Congressman's help, we would not have been able to do that. So that's the number one project. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Secondly, the largest single project that GWP is currently implementing, and that's our smart grid project. And I won't go into what that means, but nonetheless, That's about a $70 million project. It will affect every single part of GWP and affect every single customer of GWP, and we'll have it in place by the end of next year. So you can imagine how critical it is for us to get it right, and it's a $70 million project. And again, the congressman was critical in helping us procure $20 million in federal stimulus funding for the project. So again, a very, very important part of GWP. And then finally, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, the development of the Verdugo Power Academy. That is critical not only to GWP, but to all utilities in the area, in that it's providing now a pipeline of qualified and trained future employees, and we've already started to see the benefits of that. So, Congressman, again, I thank you for that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Right now, I'd like to introduce a short 4-minute video that we put together that'll kind of put it all together for you in a little bit of a different way. You can save money on your electric and water bills. And water. Conservation, efficiency, customer service, reliability, and innovation. Glendale Water and Power, your trusted community utility for the past 100 years, continues to strive to surpass your expectations, both now and for the next century. Thank you very much, and hope that clarified some of what we're doing here. At this point, I'd like to recognize the GWP commissioners, President Yu Yao, John Miller, Zanko Armenian, and I believe that's what we have here today. I don't think I missed anybody. So, Mr. Yao, if you'd like to come up.
Now, as president of the Glendale Water and Power Commission, it's an honor for me to be here today to celebrate with all of you the success of Glendale Water Power and to honor our Congressman, Adam Schiff. I want to congratulate Glendale Water and Power for 100 years of being in business and to wish them success for another 100 years. We would all agree that the success of any organization is dependent on its employees and staff. Having also worked for a utility myself and being on the commission for the last 3 years, I would consider GWP and its staff to be the best in the industry. And to be the best, organizations like individuals need support to turn their vision into reality. With support from the City Council, such as Councilmember Freeman, GWP will continue to make great strides in serving the citizens of Glendale. And thank you, Ms. Freeman, for being here today. Another friend of Glendale Water and Power is the Honorable Congressman Adam Schiff. I want to thank Congressman Schiff for his support to Glendale and specifically to GWP. For what he has done to our city, for our city, and for our utility, Congressman Schiff truly represents our community. He's got our back. So thank you, Congressman Schiff, and thank you everyone for joining the celebration.
Thank you, Hugh. I'm Tony Tartaglia, president of the Glendale Community College Board of Trustees, and I'm here today because we are a part of Glendale Water and Power as well. We've always had a very good relationship. We were one of the first establishments in town to utilize a lot of the green energy aspects of what Glendale Water and Power provides its citizens. We put a rather large solar array on top of our new parking structure, and we appreciated Glendale Water and Power helping that make it happen. So thank you, Glenn, for that. But we've moved into another stage. As you heard, the Verdugo Power Academy, and thank you, Congressman Schiff, for the stimulus money, because we prided ourselves on utilizing that money to produce the jobs that you voted for. So we appreciate that, Congressman. But the Verdugo Power Academy is very unique. I was approached, the college, some time ago, about 2 years ago, by Ramon Aboy, the Assistant General Manager here at the utility, and he said to me, I'm having trouble filling jobs. I can't get pole climbers. Even in this kind of economy, a job that could offer you $60,000 a year, he had trouble filling. And he had it for a myriad of reasons. And he said, is there anything the college can do? I asked our department, Scott Rupke's here today, and basically Scott, after he got around the deer in the headlights look at me, said, I think this is something we can do. And I think the college, like Glendale Water and Power, can step up to it immediately. And within a year, we had a curriculum together. We worked with Congressman Schiff and putting the money together through the Verdugo Workforce Investment Board, and we became a stellar organization, the three of us, in producing graduates that are now working today. As Glenn indicated, we had our first graduating class in January, and to my knowledge, 6 out of those 20 were certified pole climbers, and I know many of the utilities looked at them very closely, and I know a lot of them are working today. So we appreciate that. And being a part of this celebration, we would like to celebrate Glendale Water and Power, so I'd like to invite Hugh and Glenn up to receive something from us. On behalf of the Glendale Community College Board of Trustees and Glendale Community College, I would like to present this plaque to both Glenn and Hugh in honor of 100 years of a wonderful utility, and we wish you 100 more.
Thank you very much, Tony. That was very nice. I'd like to invite Linda Ng from the Department of Water Resources to come up.
Good afternoon. Congressman Schiff, Mr. Steiger, and honored guests. It is my pleasure in representing the Department of Water Resources here today to celebrate GWP's 100th anniversary and the Congressman's great accomplishment. DWR commend the Congressman, Mr. Steiger, Mr. Kavuna, and your project team in moving the Chromium-6 research project. We are delighted to provide $2.5 million to this project along with our funding partners and to improve the water qualities for the city of Glendale. And also, it will have a sustaining impact to the state of California. With me today are my staff, Tom Deere and Stephen Gimbroli. Stand up, please. Yes. We congratulate DWP and the congressmen for your accomplishment. And keep up the good work, and we look forward to our continued partners in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Now I'd like to invite Rich Roach, who has promised to speak for 37 seconds. I'm timing you, Rich.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I promise I'll be short. Okay, not good, I'm sorry. That didn't cut into my 37 seconds, did it? Okay. I want to congratulate you on 100 years of serving the community and also for 100 years of serving the business community. And to commemorate that, the Glendale Chamber of Commerce would like to present you with this plaque for a century of service. Thank you very much.
Rich, thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Glendale Councilwoman Laura Friedman. Laura.
Thank you. It's truly a pleasure to be here with you today. And looking around, I am so happy that we have such a packed house. And I think it's a real testament to the pride that the people of Glendale have in their utility. And it's very fitting that this year is going to be the 100th year for GWP because they are truly on the verge of so many accomplishments. The Chrome-6 facilities are going to be a model that are going to help make the water safe for the entire region. The fact that we are already at 20% of our renewable portfolio is extraordinary and something that's really, I think, set the standard for the entire region and something that's also, I think, very much on the minds of the other cities around us who we've really left in the dust in terms of what we've been doing with renewable energy. We have just embarked on a new project that no one's mentioned yet today. It's a little bit of a GWP project and a little bit of a public works project, and that involves looking into the potential of waste to energy at Shoal Canyon landfill, which is something that could bring clean and renewable energy to Glendale in the very near future, and it's extremely exciting. So all of these projects and smart grid are all coming online this year. And the one that you don't hear as much about, but you've heard about today, is the Verdugo Power Academy, which we are so proud of because it's really an investment in our most important resource, and that's the people of Glendale. And that's giving jobs and training to people at a time when it's needed the most. And all of these projects are only possible because of the work of the greatest champion that the city of Glendale has, and that's our Congressman Adam Schiff. He is always accessible, he's always responsive, and he's always there for Glendale. And I feel very lucky to have him as our representative in Washington, D.C. So I want to thank him very much for being here today and for everything that he's done in terms of bringing funding to Glendale for all of these wonderful projects. And thank you also to Peter and to Glenn and to their dedicated staff, a more hardworking group of people you will never find. Thank you all very much for being here.
Laura, thank you very much. And of course, Laura didn't mention that she is really the driving force behind the Shoal Canyon project that we hope to put forth in the not too distant future. And Laura keeps me on my toes all the time. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And where's Ron Davis? Ron, we're really not going to leave you in the dust, so it's, it's okay. I have to be careful here. This really pleases me to be able to introduce our honored guest. As Laura said, and as you've heard, Congressman Schiff has been just invaluable to the things that we're now doing here in Glendale. And we could not have achieved what we have achieved today and what we expect to achieve in the near future without his help. So, you know, he hardly needs an introduction. He's a familiar and very well-respected face in our city and all the communities that he serves, including Alhambra, Altadena, Burbank, Pasadena, San Gabriel, South Pasadena, and Temple City. He ably represents California's 29th Congressional District in Washington. And during his tenure in Congress, Mr. Schiff has focused on bolstering national security, strengthening our communities, and introducing a Kids First agenda of initiatives to improve education, safety, and health care for our kids. As a member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, Congressman Schiff has been a leader on national security efforts and has pushed for a broader strategy that emphasizes diplomacy and intelligence reform. For Glendale and GWP in particular, Congressman Schiff has proven himself time and time again to be a steadfast advocate and a respected voice in Washington. He worked tirelessly to help us secure funding for the Chrome 6 facilities from the federal government and has been fully engaged in support of our joint efforts to establish and successfully launch the Verdugo Power Academy. Both he and his staff provide a level of accessibility that is virtually unmatched, and I can personally attest to that. I've never, ever had a problem just walking into the senator's, or excuse me, senator, I made you a senator now. Maybe that's into the congressman's office without him giving me his time, and I very, very much appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce Congressman Adam Schiff.
Glenn, thank you very much, and I can assure you no member of the House objects to being introduced as a senator. However, were you to introduce a senator as a member of the House, you would get many complaints. It's a pleasure to join you today, and I'm in the awkward position of not having a certificate to present, but being presented one. I'm not used to that situation. I'm the guy that gives out the proclamations. But I did want to say just a couple words about GWP and more broadly about the city of Glendale, because I think both are truly remarkable. In the area of water and power, for many years now, I guess 100 years, water and power has been innovative, courageous, well ahead of the curve. And if you look at the three issues that are being highlighted today, chromium-6, for example, this is a problem certainly here. But as we started working on this issue now more than a decade ago, we discovered it's a problem all around the country. It's one of the byproducts of some of the manufacturing processes used really around the world, that we have this hexavalent chromium in the water. And when we first started talking about it, it was unclear whether it was a real danger, whether it was a carcinogen. We knew that it caused cancer when you inhaled it, because workers at the dry docks that worked on ships would get cancer if they were exposed to it by inhaling hexavalent chromium. But we didn't know what happened when you drank it. We assumed certainly that it probably wouldn't be good for you, but we didn't know. And so we worked together to get the federal government to do a national toxicology program, kind of the gold standard study. Is it a carcinogen? And it is. But at the same time, we wanted to work on the technology to get it out of the water. If it was going to take us some years to do the study, we didn't want to have to start all over again to figure out how do you get out of the water, because no one had ever successfully gotten it out of water before, let alone on the scale that's necessary in terms of drinking water. And Glendale led the way. And that's a courageous thing to do as a water and power, because it's not cheap. It's not guaranteed of success. There are lots of other cities around the country that have exactly the same problem, so why should we be the ones to pioneer it? Why not let someone else do the hard work? But Glendale did the hard work, along with the state of California. I'm glad at the federal level we could be a good partner as well. And the result is a technology that works, that will now be of great benefit in terms of our water table, but will also be of great benefit to regions around the country. The same is true certainly on the smart grid. This is an evolving technology that has enormous potential. Tony mentioned the solar roofs at Glendale College, and what was going through my mind is one of the advantages of a smart grid is that when you produce power on your roof, you can put power into the grid, and you can be paid for that power. And conversely, you can reduce your own energy bill. But imagine a place, and we will get there, and Glendale will get there before almost any other, where consumers can put power into the grid as well as take it out. It helps reduce our energy bills. It helps move to renewable energy and conservation. It's just a win-win. And I was thrilled that Glendale applied and was successful, the first city in the nation to get one of these smart grid grants, and I think it's just tremendous. But, you know, again, big project, certainly some risk in being ahead of the curve, but Glendale stepping forward. Similarly, on the Verdugo Power Academy, the city saw a need, the college saw a need, the Verdugo Workforce Investment Board was well aware of the need to create jobs, to get people new careers, and rather than just kind of mill on it and cogitate about it, they actually put a program together and made it work. And now you see people with good paying jobs as a result. So hats off to GWP for 100 years of that kind of leadership. And to our council member, Laura Friedman, does such an able job on the council. Kudos also to the city, because the department wouldn't be able to do this without the city's support. And in this area, like so many others, the city is similarly ahead of the curve. You know, I work with the city on interoperable communications equipment. It's a project called ICETS. It's a big project. It allows firefighters and police officers in Glendale and other emergency providers to talk to those in Burbank and Pasadena and Culver City and Beverly Hills. It's a system that's the first of its kind in this region. And that could have been delegated to LA County or the city of LA, or it could have been put off for years and years. It's a big, expensive project, and Glendale has really led the way. Glendale is leading the way now in developing a regional DNA lab so that we don't have to wait for LA County to get samples back in rape and murder cases. And time after time, the city and this department are in a leadership role, and it's really quite extraordinary. The citizens of Glendale are very lucky to have such talented council members like Laura and talented officials in their departments like GWP, with Glenn leading the way to be on the front edge of all these innovations. So it's a treasure and a pleasure to team up with you and to recognize you on your 100th birthday. Congratulations.
Congressman, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. I'd like you to stay here for a minute. And I'd like to invite, again, Councilwoman Friedman and two of our Verdugo Academy graduates, Mary Harrington and Oscar Paredes. And they're also, just so you know, they're not only our graduates, but they now work for GWP. So it's working. And of course, Yu Yao. Before I make this presentation, again, I want to emphasize how much Congressman Schiff has helped us to do what we need to do and to transition our utility from the utility of the past to the utility of the future, because that's exactly what's happening today. Through Smart Grid, and by the way, Smart Grid in Glendale is both electric and water. It's the entire utility will all be Smart Grid. Smart Grid through the Verdugo Power Academy that will give us our workforce of the future, and through the Chromium-6 efforts, which will get us to a new way of treating water and assuring that we'll have healthy and clean water to the future. So again, I thank you. The utility of the future thanks you, and you are a critical piece of it. So with that, I'd like to award you with this plaque. And again, thank you so much. Again, I want to thank everyone, and Congressman, thank you so much for your help, and please stay, have some more refreshments, and enjoy the grounds. It's a beautiful area. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.